Good afternoon, folks. Today is Thursday, August 21st, 2025. We're here in the council chambers of Greater Madawaska for our regular council meeting at 3 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Greater Madawaska calls to order the August 21st, 2025 regular council meeting at 3 p.m.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, Councillor Thompson. All in favor? Carried. So we're now on official business, I guess. So moving on to item number 2, please stand for O Canada. Thank you. As we gather in chambers, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on unprecedented or unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Miigwech. Item number 4, approval of agenda. Resolution, please.
That the agenda of the council meeting of August 21st, 2025 be approved as presented.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Levesque, Councillor Thompson. All in favor? Carried. Item number 5, approval of minutes. Resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the following minutes are approved by council. Public hearing, June 19th, 2025. Regular council, June 19th, 2025. Special council, August 12th, 2025.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, Councillor Levesque. Item 5.2, acceptance of minutes.
All in favor.
Oh, sorry, all in favor? Okay, carried. Item 5.2, acceptance of minutes. Do we have a resolution for that one?
Be it resolved that the following minutes are accepted by council. Canada Day Committee, June 10th, 2025. Recreation and Culture Committee, June 10th, 2025. Canada Day Committee, June 24th, 2025. And Canada Day Committee, July 8th, 2025.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Levesque. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, declaration of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. None seen. Item 7, mayor's report. So it's been almost 2 months since we've met in council chambers here. A lot's been going on around the town. We've had music festivals, we've had races, music in the park, art programs, many, many more events that have been carried on throughout the township. I've attended a few of them, what I could. We had a very busy Canada Day out on the streets here, well attended, and I'd like to thank all the volunteers and the organizers for such an event. Right after our last council meeting, we also had a business expo at the community hall. It was the first one held in the township, and it was a great success. So again, thanks for the organizers for that and everybody for coming out. Previously this week, council and staff members attended AMO conference in Ottawa. It's a 4-day conference encompassing all of the municipalities of Ontario. So it was a chance for us to meet with fellow municipalities that are sharing the same issues and concerns that we have here in our own hometown. So we were able to meet, go over with some stuff, and find some paths forward. So that being said, that basically sums up my mayor report for August here. So we'll move on to item number 8, planning and development. 8.1, building permit report. This is an information item too, by the way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the intent of this memo was just to update council on the amount of building permits that have been issued to date as of the end of July 2025, and also the revenues that have been collected through the permit fees and the development charges. So if any council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Councillor Thompson?
It looks like it's way down from last year. Was last year just a big spike, or is there something you can
Like
attribute to?
the permit numbers or the revenue more than which part?
Oh, the revenue.
Oh, Councillor Thompson, can you turn your mic on?
Sorry. Thought I was done. The revenue. in
Okay, so I think the reason for the revenue being quite a bit less is if you look from last year at this time, there was 22 new dwellings built, and then now, as of this year, there's only 12 new dwellings. So the permit fees would be significantly less because of that. And also the permit numbers have dropped. It's more permits being issued for smaller projects such as garages or decks, that sort of thing. So.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering if there's a trend, if we can expect it to stay this low, or do you think it's going to go back up compared to other years? Like, are we going?
It's hard to say. It has been a slower year for sure. Even just word of mouth with talking to contractors from the city and whatnot. There's not near the work. It's not as busy a year. So, and that being said, last year I would say was a bit of a spike. The last 2 or 3 years were a bit of a spike with COVID and whatnot. But this could be more of maybe a downward trend. That next year might be somewhat like this year. It's hard to predict, right?
Any further questions? None seen.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 8.2, bylaw 44-2025, development agreement for Ottawa West Development Incorporated. Do we have a resolution?
That council approve bylaw 44-2025 to enter into a development agreement with Ottawa West Development, Inc. in accordance with sections 5312 and 5126 of the Planning Act to satisfy the conditions of consent approval.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, Councillor Thompson. Can we have a little bit of background on this, please?
Yes, of course. So you may recall the property owner had 3 severances approved in this land holding from Renfrew County. And in support of those 3 applications, they submitted a hydrogeology study, an archaeological assessment, and a planning rationale, which supported the severances. Subsequently, this council passed a zoning bylaw amendment in June that dealt with some undersized road frontages and implemented a holding provision to make sure that the archaeological study has been accepted by the province. And so that zoning amendment was approved in June, and there were no appeals filed on that. The development agreement you have before you today satisfies a condition of severance for all 3 lots, and it has the recommendations that come out of those supporting studies, which will now be kind of implemented on these 3 lots and will inform future development. So there's conditions related to the drilling of wells and septic systems in the future, about protecting the water body with plantings and vegetation, and the recommendations from the archaeological assessment. So the development agreement simply implements the recommendations and mitigation measures from those supporting studies.
Okay. Do we have any questions or concerns? Councillor Thompson?
Hi, only one. It's not directly related to it, but it is. The Sweets Lane starts as a seasonally maintained municipal road, and then it becomes a private road with the same name. Is there any consideration of changing one or the other? So that it's just going to be very confusing. Even if you've got the signs, as you requested, saying it's private beyond this point, it's odd.
You're asking if there's been discussion of changing the name of the road?
Well, I don't know if it's, I don't think I've ever seen a municipal road turn into a private road with the same name.
Okay.
Could we consider changing one? I don't think there's any one on the part that's municipally seasonally maintained, so maybe it'd be easier to change that one.
That hasn't come up in any of the comments or documents I've seen so far on these files. I don't know if Renee wants to jump in. That issue hasn't been raised so far, I guess.
I was thinking the same thing, hasn't been raised, and then when the county would be responsible for that side for 911 signs and whatnot. So I think as ease of emergency, it would stay as a Sweets Lane, I would assume.
Sorry, if I may add, there are also a number of houses on this road that use that Sweets Lane address. So these 3 severances kind of infill between those and create really 2 more lots, because one of the severed lots already has the civic address on Sweets Lane. So there's already houses on the private road using the Sweets Lane address.
So we have to keep it the same. Is there any sign to say, I didn't see anything to say like this part is municipal and this part is private.
Again, I don't know if that's written into the agreement here. I can't remember, but I recall from doing a site visit that there is a sign when it transitions to the private road that says this is a private road.
At this point?
Yes.
Okay, so, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions or concerns? Do we need to have the resolution reread? All in favor? Carried. Okay, on to item number 9.1, tender for the 2025 winter sand. We'll have Renee speak on this and give us a resolution too, I guess.
That council award tender 10/2025 winter sand to Town and Country Forming for $115,203.50, HST included.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, Councillor Levesque. Do we need some background on this?
Well, just to provide a bit of background, so this is to order the winter sand for 2025. You'll see, I just want to bring your attention a bit to we did some partnering for cooperative tendering with the county initially, and the cost per ton was $30 per ton. So the township, as well as the county garage on this end, decided to go out for tendering again together, and were able to reduce the cost to $20.39 per ton, which is approximately a savings of nearly $50,000 for the year. So now we would be awarding to Town and Country Forming for $115,000, and it's within the approved budget.
Any questions? I just have a quick question. I don't know if you can answer this, Renee. Do you know what % they mix the salt with the sand? Or do I have to wait for Steve?
Unfortunately, you'll have to wait for Steve.
Okay, perfect. All in favor then? Carried. Item number 10, Finance and Administration. 10.1, Internet and Telephone Voting Services, an information item. I guess this will be you, Jen, or? Oh, Robin, okay.
This is just a memo to update council on the outcome of the joint RFP that we did for the internet and telephone voting services for 2026 election. In January, council approved the use of internet and telephone voting. And then in February, a joint RFP was put out with 9 other municipalities as a group. We received 5 proposals, and we reviewed them individually, and then as a group had discussions and meetings online. They were evaluated and ranked based on their experience and quality of service and cost approach. They made presentations, and then everybody in the group agreed to award 2 votes. And the estimated cost for the services that we agreed on for Greater Madawaska is estimated at based on the 5,242 eligible voters, so it'll fluctuate a bit depending on how many letters actually go out once the voters list is updated. And then the votes, because we were going in as a group, they gave us a 5% discount. So then that comes out to the estimate of $11,785 for those services. And we did even though we went in as a group, we all got our own contract, but we will still be working together as a group and helping each other and keeping on track with the process of getting the systems up and running. And then just like we did in 2022 election, which we'll do it more, I guess, trying to encourage more voting online and promoting it more, and then keeping the voter assistance centers open again in the outer lying areas and assist, which they were used quite a bit in 2022, so we'll do that again.
Any questions? Councillor Levesque?
Just a quick question. Thank you for that, by the way. Is this the same company that we had before?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So background, they know us, we know them.
Yeah, good. Thank
Be
you.
good.
Councillor Thompson?
I'm wondering if we were able to separate out the votes for mayor, which wards they came from.
We request that ahead of time, then that can be done, yeah.
Any further questions? None seen. Thank you, Robin. Okay, item number 10.2, Mobile Crisis Response Team Enchantment Grant. Resolution, please.
That this report regarding the Mobile Crisis Response Team Enhancement Grant for 25 to 2027 be received as information.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Levesque, Councillor Thompson. Some background, please.
So in January 2025, the South Ottawa Valley OPP Detachment Police Services Board approached the municipality seeking assistance for a grant application for a mobile crisis response team enhancement grant. The grant application had to be submitted by a municipality that was a member of the board rather than by the Renfrew OPP directly. This grant offers mental health or addictions services or crisis workers that can, supported by the police, the crisis workers can help determine whether individuals suspected of experiencing a crisis should be sent to an emergency department for treatment and provide connections to community programming and supports if necessary. So this will allow crisis workers, will help hire crisis workers for this grant. So on April 28th, the Township and the Renfrew OPP Board were notified that their grant submission was successful, securing $118,000 for 2025-2026 and an additional $118,000 for 2026-2027. So this is entirely the Police Services Board grant. There's no cost associated to the Township other than some administration assistance. Going forward, the Police Services Board has recommended that any requests are submitted formally by way of board resolution, that we would happily assist them in any way possible. Any questions?
Councillor Thompson. Councillor.
Thank you, Jen. Will we expect to see more administrative requests like this coming from the board?
If I can answer, no, this is a one-off shot. So in the transition year with the new board, the board is not an entity under the Municipal Act or under the municipal structure, so it doesn't have an account that we can access for provincial funding. The board reaches out to its 7 municipal partners, entities, and traditionally it's with the town of Renfrew. There were changes happening within the town of Renfrew when this grant application came in. So it was a one-time, and it's very specific. It was to put a crisis social worker, a very specialized individual, into the OPP detachment to service our catchment area for calls where they needed that expertise to determine whether to go forward or not. Moving forward, we have a board meeting this week when we expect to ratify our agreement with the town of Renfrew going forward as our paymaster. So any of these activities, they have a new structure in place and will be going through the town of Renfrew. So this was really recognized as a one-off. It was critical because we had a short window to get the funding. It's for a 2-year cycle, and the police board, the OPP, and the crisis mental health team out of Pembroke Hospital had been working on this for some time. We did not want to lose the opportunity. But going forward, we have now that time, the structure in place, that those requests will come, as did this one, from the board, not me as the councillor here, but through the board, through a board resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I just needed to understand if we were going to get more of these. But thank you.
Any more questions?
That actually pretty much answered mine, but I'm wondering, what does it give us one full-time position, or what are we getting?
Correct. So it's no work to the municipality other than having to have the computer and dump in the actual request for the funding. The money comes in. There is an invoice that will come from Pembroke, which is the mental health unit for our county. to hire, and they follow all of the policies and procedures. They will handle the reporting and the financial accountability back so that the numbers add up. It's an actual person who is selected, goes through the police screening process, and will be staffed at the OPP Renfrew detachment and be available to the officers. We have one, this is a second one, and it's for a 2-year cycle so that we bring that individual in, the individual is incorporated into the detachment and works with the officers. So it's a body that is specifically for our catchment area, not just within Greater Madawaska, but within the 7 municipalities that encompass the police board, so our neighboring municipalities.
One other question, it's strictly for OPP, right? It's not, no other emergency workers in the township?
At the moment, no, but there is a very informal and real connection between our paramedic service and the OPP on calls of this nature. Usually on these calls, you will see more than one just service provider. So there's an informal, but I think as the county develops its initiatives with paramedic medicine, we may see that expand, but it's not something at this table that would be at a bigger picture, and not something that would be coming back to the township. This was a one-time request for time sensitivity. Thank you.
Any further questions? And seeing, we'll move on to 10.3, Bylaw 46-2025, Recreation Agreement with the Town of Renfrew. Oh, sorry, we got to, all in favor of that last one? Carried. Keep getting ahead of myself here, sorry about that. So now we'll move on to 10.3, the bylaw agreement, recreation agreement with the Town of Renfrew, 2026 to 2030. Resolution, please.
That council approves bylaw 46/2025, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and CAO to execute an agreement with the town of Renfrew respecting the provision of recreation services for the period from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2030.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, followed by Councillor Tripp. Some background on this then?
So the Township of Greater Madawaska and the Town of Renfrew in 2021 entered into an agreement for the provision of recreation services for the period of January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2023. So this agreement expired. We have been in discussions with them. Today we bring forward to you a new agreement for the period of January 1st, 2026 to the 31st day of December 2030. The agreement permits the ratepayers of the township to participate in activities and programs and use all existing facilities in the same manner and on the same conditions as the ratepayers of the town of Renfrew. So I've outlined the fees. Starting 2026, the fees will be $14,933 annually with a 9.1 increase year over year. The 2026 budget will be adjusted to include the increased fee of $1,233. And then going forward, the budget will be adjusted accordingly. Any questions?
Councillor Thompson?
I'm wondering how it works and how many people know what's available. If you go to use, say, whatever facility in town of Renfrew as a resident, do you give your address to say that you're allowed to go there? Or?
Yeah, so when you sign up for activities, they'll ask you what your address is, and then they'll know that you're part of the Township of Greater Madawaska and that you get the applicable rate.
Okay, and how is this promoted, do you know?
We will be promoting it a little bit more through social media and by discussion over the next year. We'll be really kind of encouraging our residents to use it. There's lots of services out there, and I feel probably a lot of people don't know about them, so we will be trying to promote it as much as we can.
No, yes, that's good, because I know now that we've got a community partnership, what's her name? Jennifer, what's her title?
Oh, Jenna, community development?
Yeah, community development person that's really going to help with this sort of thing, right? So we
Yes.
didn't really have that back when this was first done?
Oh,
Yeah, so we have Kate, a program coordinator.
Sorry.
So
Okay, yeah.
with that, she'll be able to advertise and promote it more. And then it's come It's come up through the Recreation and Culture Committee also, is the promotion of services. As you can see, the cost is going up, the usage is not high. So this gives us an opportunity to put it out there more, but then decide if we proceed this way in the future, depending on usage. So yeah, promoting it will be bigger. And then back to, as Jennifer mentioned, I do it through McNabb Braeside. Same thing is that when we register for programming, it automatically knows that you're part of the catchment area for the agreement and you pay in-town fees versus out-of-town fees.
Right. And just one more before you can talk. So we'll be watching the numbers to see if it's worth the investment over the next 4 years?
Yeah, so there's an opportunity to look at the numbers and promoting it more, because you have to think of usage, right, on a dollar value. We know we watched it a bit in McNabb Braeside in comparison to Empire with their agreement. They made the decision to just reimburse between the in-town, out-of-town fee, eventually depending on cost. So that's what we'll observe is usage. Obviously, it's easier for us to partner and have residents seamlessly attend as a resident and use these facilities, but that will be all assessed as we go.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Levesque, you got a question?
Just to follow up on that, Renee, thank you for that. So in terms of metrics for the usage of this, do they and we track that? Or do they provide us a report of that?
They provide us an annual report.
Okay.
Usually we don't get it until mid-year, but
Okay.
yeah, we will be getting a report on the usage.
Okay. And the second part of that, like we discussed about how we kind of create an umbrella of recreational opportunities, this being one arm of it. There's the things that we have directly, the things that we would promote indirectly through this type of arrangement, things that we can do in the future. So I think it's good for us now that we have the Recreation and Culture Committee and other opportunities within the recreation, within the township office and Kate's work, is to kind of put this into one view of what recreation looks like for the township. So it could be direct or indirect, and what do people have access to, so we can help promote that as a package, rather than this is over here that somebody may or may not know about it, this is over here that they know about it, and just, it's right now, we're trying to collect and move things forward so people have an idea of what's available, but I think this kind of thing would help a lot to attach it to that, so they have a fulsome view of what's available to every resident. So I definitely be circling back on that one. Thank you.
Any more questions? None seen. Do we need the resolution reread? All in favor then? Carried. On to item number 11, committees and boards. 11.1, the 2025 Canada Day Committee, final report by Jane Weir, Committee Chair.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak, Mr. Mayor.
Is your mic on before?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect.
I sit at that desk sometimes. The purpose of this memo is to inform the council of the success, challenges, and financial implications of the 2025 Canada Day events as per the Canada Day Committee terms of reference. There were 5 events held throughout the township. The first was Madawaska Hall Canada Day, and that was on June 28th. The second, 5K Fun Run in Madawaska, July 1st. The third, the Pancake Breakfast in Calabogie, July 1st. And the fourth, at the DACA Center, Canada Day, July 1st. And fifth, Canada Day in Calabogie, July 1st. Madawaska Hall held their event on the Saturday, and the event was considered to be a success by organizers and attendees. The Canada Day Committee assisted with promoting the event through advertising, and the township also assisted with $1,500 in funding. The organizer of the 5K run reported that the event was a success, with participation doubling last year's numbers, and plans are to continue the event again next year. The event was organized by volunteers, and the event received support from the township's road department, fire department, office staff, and township funding support of $170. The Greater Madawaska Public Library and Learning Center organized the annual pancake breakfast held in Calabogie. The Township Fire Department assisted throughout the breakfast event. The library reported the event was a big success again this year, with a record-breaking attendance over 325 people and an estimated profit of $2,400. This event was included on the advertising and promotional materials created by the Canada Day Committee. The DACA Center held a successful event this year. The community and organizers were particularly happy with the participation of the fire department, which added fun attraction for everyone. The township assisted with $1,500 of funding and promotion through advertising. The Calabogie Canada Day event was organized and managed by the Canada Day Committee. However, the assistance and involvement of several groups, volunteers, were fundamental to the success of the event. Attendance was noticeably higher again this year, with an estimated count of 2,500 attendees compared to the 2,000 of last year. Overall, the event was successful and many positive comments were received. The volunteer shortage is an issue. We had to fill in for a couple of people that weren't, spaces that weren't filled. And spacing of the activities along the street was something we're going to review, because we had the bouncy castles a little far off this year, nothing in between. Expenses for Canada Day were Match One Hall, $1,500, DACA, $1,500, Fund Run, $170. The Calabogie event was $24,904, totaling $28,074. Fundraising, sponsorships, donations, and grants amounted to $15,510. Approximately $2,500 of this amount was generously donated by local business and community groups. Therefore, the financial implication for the township for Canada Day was $12,564. I would also like to thank members of the community, Rob, Cheryl, Jean, and Emma, and our volunteers, town staff, Lions Club, and especially Robin and our fire department. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Do we have any questions? Councillor Tripp?
I just have a comment, and it's a thank you to Jane for her leadership through this year. It was really a pleasure to be on the committee and to watch it develop and grow. And you've thanked the people who did the work, but we, I think, want to thank you as the leader who brought us all together and kept us motivated. And I'm very impressed and pleased to see that Canada Day event is a flag event for us in the township. And we continue each year to bring in more money through grants than we use as ratepayer dollars. So it's a very good blend, I think, for people to recognize we raise more than we get in the proportion out of the tax base. And that's a very, I think, something we as a community can be very proud of, coming together around this. So thank you for your leadership on this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, 11.2, Recreation and Cultural Committee by Councillor Levesque.
Brief verbal report for everybody. Since the last report, we had one Music in the Park, which was our inaugural first crack at it. I think it was well attended, and we had planned on 3. Unfortunately, things haven't materialized for the other 2 as yet, and we may or may not have one more yet to be determined. We have a meeting next week to discuss the outcome of the Music in the Park event that we had, and determine what could be improved or different, changed from any future events. And other than that, we have one new member who has applied to the vacancy that we have, and we'll be talking about that on this week as well. next week rather. That's about it.
Perfect. Any questions? Unseen. So item 11.3, a library board by Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I have a few items to let you know about. The library has now a computer kiosk where you can go into the library and look up the online books rather than just going through the stacks. I don't know what system they had before, but that was provided by, this is from Ruth, the CEO. We thank Melanie and Scott for the donation of a computer monitor and Valley Bytes for the setup. Hopefully this facilitates library use for our patrons. And also they're still cleaning up the catalog database. It remains a work in progress, but having a physical access point is a step forward. That's been an ongoing thing. For some reason, the catalog database got out of date. So that also shows what great community members we have to volunteer and to donate. We'll report in full of the new memberships at next month's or at the budget meeting, but we currently have 81 new members in 2025, and we expect that will go up again when school starts because the library's in the school. And that's something we've been pushing for this year, especially in the other wards, especially in Ward 3, Griffith and Madawaska, because we were out at the Fish and Game Club fishing derby, and where the fire department was, once again, they're everywhere. And we got quite a few new members who didn't even know we had a library here. I don't know, we put it in the Highlander all the time under Library Matters, but a lot of people who cottage here don't know Calabogie is the same township as Madawaska. They just, and it's very useful. Anyhow, we're hoping, and we've got members from every area code, whatever postal code, other than like something or other Quadville, it's little corners. So we are reaching the whole township. There was a successful photography workshop series with Tony Beck and Nina Stavland of Always an Adventure, Inc. of Dacre. There were 5 registrants, and they were all pretty excited to see a hummingbird moth clear wing found, and all kinds of nice stuff. There was a free dental screening at the library, gymnasium by the library, with the Renfrew County Health Unit that brought in 20 people, two under the age of 2, 9 children, 7 adults, and a senior. I don't know where they cut off the senior rate. Summer Reading Club has 30 kids registered, so that's an ongoing thing. They'll wrap up soon. There'll be a Learn to Play Guitar on September 17th. It'll be a free 6-week lesson series offered by Joe Sornberger. It'll be suitable for beginners ages 10 and up. And they've got, already have 6 of the 10 spaces booked. There's a new digital resource, e-resource, Hoopla, that patrons can borrow and enjoy audiobooks, ebooks, comics, movies, TV, magazines, and music. That they can play it on all their devices. So if you pick it up on one, you can use it on other. So this is a nice change. We have some Air Things radon detectors. Radon is the primary cause of lung cancer among non-smokers, and in this very rocky terrain, you're more likely to get radon into your basement coming through from the soil. So it's something you should check, especially new homes. So you can borrow them and keep them for 3 weeks to do the testing, and then they send them in for checking. And we have Water Rangers water testing kits. They are robust and come with the tools you need to sample and test temperature, pH, and clarity. and then sent it into Water Ranger's site. And going back to what you were saying about the rec committee, including the town of Renfrew events and whatnot, it makes sense for the library with all these events to also be included under that umbrella. So it's something to suggest going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On to 11.4, South Ottawa Valley OPP Detachment Board by Councillor Tripp.
Thank you, Chair. So this will be the first update of activity of the board, now that we're starting to get our legs under us and a bit of a foundation. The first is, and I'm reporting on the board's or the OPP activity specifically as it applies just to this township. There's a bigger picture here, but I want to just bring to this table and to those online and following the activity. So the first is on road safety. It's obviously been something paramount to us over the years. And the OPP is creating a stronger emphasis on road safety in the township. On July 26th, there was a bike traveling up on Centennial Lake Road, and they were clocked doing 151 kilometers an hour in an 80 zone. They were from out of the area. They were charged heavy fine, 14-day impoundment, and a 30-day license suspension. The OPP continues to work with the township and community members to strategize on addressing this. They have been very active of late in our neighborhood, even to the point, I live on Kennedy Road, and there was a speed trap on Kennedy Road. So they're going into the smaller areas and then onto the main highways. We've seen them in our area on 508 coming up, but their presence has certainly increased, and it's a trend going forward. And they're strategizing now on addressing the issues. They recognize it as a problem. We've had 3 lives taken in the last 5 years on that one road up in Centennial. And even today, there are and will be ongoing meetings, not just with OPP, but EMT and a number of other partners to take this on as a bigger approach. So road safety is on the radar, and pun not intended. Addressing local priorities, part of the role of the board is to be a voice to the OPP on what the priorities are in the community for policing. They do a strategic plan every 3 years, which is coming up, and part of that is a detention action plan that is included in the key priorities and activities going forward. So to roll into that, a consultation plan was developed, a monkey survey was built, it was launched throughout the 7 municipalities that fall under the board. We had a total of 374 responses, so we're very impressed with the volume. And really good information coming back in terms of what people see as a priority for policing. That will be used to advise the board, or to advise the OPP as they go forward with their plan, so that our voice is heard when they start to look at what their priorities are. And there'll be more dialogue going forward on that. The intent was to identify the key areas for improvement in police community relations, to foster open dialogue and encourage mutual understanding and strength, ensure that the action plan is responsive to the needs and expectations of our residents, and also to empower us as community members to have a voice in shaping the police actions. So it's a pivoting change in policing, where the residents have an opportunity to voice their concerns and their views and their opinions on what the priorities should be aligned in our areas. And I think we've seen that with the increased presence in a very micro example up on Centennial Road of late. I'm pleased to announce that the position of detachment commander, which has been somewhat fluid, it's been acting. They have launched a call for letters of intent, applications for the position. They've been received, and we're in the final process of selecting a candidate who will become the permanent detachment commander. And that announcement will be out within the next few weeks. Again, the board representing the community is at that table and has a voice in who the detachment commander will be. The board's comprised of 2 members of the OPP and 1 from the board, just to ensure that that community lens is there when we're selecting someone to be the detachment commander. It's nice to be able to have a community voice in that vote to make sure the individual is really responsive to listening to the needs of the ratepayers. Last point is on board administration. We'll be starting the budgeting process for 2026. It's taken a while this year to get the administrative foundation under the board, a lot of changing and moving parts and a lot of complexities with the legislation. I think we're through that process now, so we'll start having robust discussions on what the budget will look for 26. It will be significantly, I shouldn't say significantly, it will be less than the initial budget now that we have an idea of what our true costs will be. But we'll be working with our 7 municipalities as we come forward with that. The board, as I mentioned in our discussion on the MCERT grant, the board is signing a memorandum of understanding with the town of Renfrew to be the paymaster. And that will allow a simplified way for us to move money. And for us as a township, for example, to pay our share, will go through a transfer to the town of Renfrew, where they will have a separate account set up that the board will have oversight on, but they will be the paymasters for the activities. Lastly, we have as part of the board has as part of its mandate, 2 members of the community who are provincial appointees, and the board will be doing a call out in the coming month for interested candidates to sit. Their names are then sent to Queen's Park, and it is a ministerial appointment as a political representation. So there are 7 sitting on the board, 1 from each of the municipalities, 2 community members, and 2 provincial members, and we'll be filling those spots coming forward. Thank you. Happy for questions.
Councillor Thompson?
I just want to say how amazing it is to see OPP, the unlabeled cars. I don't know if everyone here has done that Centennial Lake. Very twisty. It's being promoted by Ontario Highlands Tourism as a great, it's on a motorcycle route that they mapped out. And it is well known for its twisty roads and great views. But they go so fast. They monitor their speeds and degree of tilt, because I guess that's a thing, and their times, and they share them online. And this is being promoted as a great place to do really fast. So as we drive, you see them tilting over their heads or over the line, and we're coming the other way. It's twisty and you've got the rocks. So yeah, it is really important. As you know, that's, it was at 3 in the last 5 years. I thought it was actually annual that a motorcyclist gets killed on that stretch. So that's terrific. And I'm sure just the beginning of great things to come, because, you know, we're finally getting a voice in the OPP, so that's terrific stuff. Thanks.
I'm just going to reiterate her point as well. It's nice to see police presence out there in Ward 2, Centennial Lake area. They always seem that they were forgotten about, never seen any police presence. So I've seen more in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last couple of years. So it's nice to see them out doing something. Thank you. So we'll move on to item number 12 here. 12.1, dark sky bylaw. Motion brought forward by Councillor Thompson. Do we have a resolution, please?
The council directs staff to develop a dark sky bylaw that will aim to preserve wildlife habitats and the quality of life in the township.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson and Councillor Levesque. Some background, please.
Sure. Dark skies are an important part of wildlife habitat protection, which links directly to hunting, fishing, bird watching, stargazing, and the enjoyment of village and country life, things that are vital to our tourism-based economy. It is particularly important to create a dark sky bylaw now as part of the Grow Greater Together initiative before current developments are built out and as new developments are planned. Artificial light destroys an important aspect of wildlife habitats. Nocturnal animals rely on darkness at night to maintain circadian rhythms for breeding, hibernation, and migration. Light pollution disturbs natural behaviors and hinders navigation for migratory birds. and the ability of nocturnal creatures to hide from predators and to find food. Many insects are fatally attracted to light. Their loss affects species that rely on them for food or pollination. Humans have evolved with natural light cycles. Bright nights can interfere with sleep and well-being, and to counter this, many cities are now dimming streetlights and switching to colors that mimic moonlight. As well, although Greater Madawaska doesn't have an official dark sky designation at this time, our dark skies attract stargazers, which is another important tourism draw that must be protected. So the discussion is, several townships, including North Frontenac, have dark sky bylaws, and North Frontenac has a dark sky observation pad as well. They have them in place, and that could be used as a starting point for staff to adapt to Greater Madawaska's circumstances. The Township of Muskoka Lakes Dark Sky Bylaw 2023-009 is one I found that seems to be compatible to what we could do here. One of the things I like about it is that it's grandfathering. So we're not going to ask people to rip out their lighting and change things, but going forward, they should do this. And it also puts it as part of the building code, so that it, you can't have your lights shining up at your building, but you can have them shining down from the eaves. So it has the same effect, but to be aware. And builders of lights are aware of this as a marketing thing. When we were at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario conference, there was one company, a Canadian company, that was selling the lights. They're not only dark sky compliant, but they're also frog and turtle compliant, because baby turtles, which I didn't know, apparently they mistake the bright lights for moonlight or something they're supposed to be going toward. So on those lights also have this little contraption. You can put a camera on it so they could be turned into a security light. Nobody knows. Anyhow, it is something that would be easy to do, practical to do, and not terribly disruptive. And it could come along with a promotional campaign so people understand why we're putting it in. Thank you. Any questions? Any questions?
Councillor Levesque?
Two things. Thank you for bringing that forward. I think it's a great idea. And I think as staff develops that bylaw, we'll have a better view of what that looks like. Because one of the questions I'm sure people would have is it residential and commercial, or is it just residential? Will there be incentives involved? These kinds of things. So I think as we transition into those kinds of things, and sort of also subdivisions. And you mentioned the grandfathering, but it might be some sort of thought into that. So as we have a few subdivisions that have been approved and underway, but it may not be too late to catch it before it's done. So I think these are some things we can consider, but I think it'll be great to have the view of whatever staff brings back and we get a sense of what it is. Thank you.
Yeah. In Muskoka's, the fines, they were for commercial and, all types of buildings. But I think the fine was $50,000, which I'm not sure if that would be palatable around here, having your lights shining the wrong direction. But yeah, obviously, it needs to be adapted for this area. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Tripp.
Thank you. And just to follow up on the conversation, I was surprised at the level of conversation at AMO on the floor amongst a couple of delegates, as well as that light display in the room where the distributors were there, because it is becoming an issue, and we haven't seen it yet. So it's nice certainly to ask staff to have a look at this and try to get ahead of the curve, because there are areas that people have moved into to enjoy being away from the city and away from the lights, and then they have a house next to them where lights are on 24/7. But it will be a complicated thing in terms of the difference between rural density and rural, if that makes sense. But I think it's certainly worth asking staff to have a look at. Thank you.
One of the components of the Muskoka one is also you can't shine a light into somebody else's house. So, and you need to tone down your lights at a certain hour. It's a lot like the noise bylaw. It just makes sense to keep your lights to yourself and your noise to yourself as much as possible.
I want to say that this is a great proposal. Being somebody that loves being outside all the time and experience the dark skies, I notice it, whether it's from like the little solar lights people have down their pathways to the eaves lights that they have on the sides of the house. It does not take much light to ruin the dark sky, and with the amount of people moving out nowadays that don't have that nighttime thrill-seeking thing, whatever you call it, they're not able to enjoy it, and the neighbors aren't able to enjoy it like they used to. So it's, I think it's a great thing to work with, and perhaps we can incorporate into our building code somehow or work on that for the lights in the eaves. What happened to the days when you had just a single light on the front porch? Nobody needs to see the whole house lit up at night, like a spaceship. You know what I mean? Have a light on the door, you know where the door is if you come in late, that's fine. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it, because I do like the dark and the sounds that it entails with all the lights. You don't get those creatures making those night sounds. And you lose part of what it's like to be out in the country. So, thank you for that.
Okay. Anything else?
No more questions? All in favor then? Carried. On to item number 12.2, the Canadian Renature School Program. Motion brought forward by Councillor Tripp. Resolution, please.
Whereas the Township of Greater Madawaska has the following interest: improving schoolyards by creating outdoor learning spaces and tree canopy environments. And whereas the Renature Foundation is undertaking the Canadian Renature School Program, which will be building outdoor learning spaces and planting trees at the elementary schools in the Renfrew County District School Board, be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Greater Madawaska acknowledges that the Renature Foundation is applying for a funding opportunity for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Growing Canada's Community Canopies initiative for the Canadian Renature School Program, which will be building outdoor learning spaces and planting trees at the elementary schools in the Renfrew County District School Board, and that the Council of the Township of Greater Madawaska supports this initiative, and that the Council of the Township of Greater Madawaska will forward a letter of support to the Renature Foundation.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Levesque. Some background, please.
Thank you. So this is a request that's coming through our position at the county table. It's a county initiative, and the county received a presentation on this. The presentation, for those who are online, is on the website attached to these documents. It's the Outdoor Learning Project for the Renfrew County. The public school board, the Renfrew County School Board, is partnering with the foundation to build these outdoor learning centers. They're quite impressive. They are, and the slideshow and presentation that goes along with it has a lot of the strong policy position behind. In order for them to access the grant from the Canadian Federation of Municipalities, they need the support of the municipal councils within the catchment area of the county in our case. In our specific situation, our boards are within the Catholic School Board, not the county, but there is preliminary discussion starting. So I think it's important for us to show our support for the initiative, and that as it expands and comes into opportunities with the Roman Catholic School Board, we'll be well positioned. But to access the funding, they need the support. So county has asked all municipalities to bring this to their respective municipal councils. In case, and it's time sensitive, this is a very quick turnaround to fit the funding stream for the Federation of Municipalities. So some municipalities, their council reps at the county table are submitting a personal letter of intent to bring it to the council. and then we'll follow up with a council resolution. Because we've had a meeting the timing worked out well for us. I wanted, through our role at county, to bring this to our table to seek support that we can go back to county and through county into this organization to set up our support for the resolution.
Thank you. Any questions? I just want to say this is another great opportunity for the kids in the county and maybe even our own township to get out there and experience and give back a little bit to nature and get more involved. And so thank you for bringing this up.
Just to follow on that, if as conversations develop and it rolls into the Roman Catholic School Board and it's a discussion, they would be worth bringing into a council meeting at the beginning of council, just to walk us through the presentation and the background. The science around this and the impact of outdoor learning in kindergarten to grade 3 is really worth listening to the story and seeing the impact it's having. And the design and the work and the thought that's gone into this. It's a significant outdoor learning model with no cost to the school board or to the municipality. So excited for the future on this.
They do a program very similar in Europe, and it has really taken off with the younger children over there, so it's nice to see. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. So on to item number 12.3, aerial spraying of glyphosate, however you say the word. Anyway, it's a motion brought forward by myself. Resolution, please.
That council support Resolution 125, 2025, carried by the Council of the Township of Moonbeam on August 7th, 2025, urging the federal and provincial governments to take immediate action to end the aerial spraying of glyphosate and calling for the province to form and fund an expert stakeholder advisory committee to advise on the best courses of action to protect the land, vegetation, wildlife, waterways, and air and humans from the harmful effects of aerial spraying of glyphosate. And be it further resolved that the copy of the resolution be forwarded to the Township of Moonbeam and Honorable Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks and the Association of the Municipalities of Ontario.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp and Councillor Levesque. Okay, so this is a really heated subject that's been popping up the last couple of weeks, and the Mayor and Council of Moonbeam have initiated basically a fight against the government to stop the aerial spraying of glyphosate. I'm just going to call it poison. So they've initiated a stance against them. A lot of the public does not know or are not aware that the government is even doing such things in the forest. It's not as prominent down here at the moment in southern Ontario as it is up north. They do spray down here out, however, in smaller doses. But what it does, they're trying to prevent the growth of deciduous trees and shrubs to give the conifers a chance to get established. So basically what it does when they spray this poison down, it eliminates all the blueberry bushes, the raspberry bushes. So now all the animals that eat these bushes, the rabbits, the moose, the deer, everything moves out of that area. And it takes up to 3 years before any vegetation will start to grow back. There's a spot just up the road on Centennial Lake that they did ground spraying with. And it's been almost 3 years to the day, and there's not a green stick growing. So that just goes to show how long land will remain contaminated after this stuff has been sprayed. And there's no need for it. Quebec has banned all spraying in their province since 2001, and their forests are nice, lush, and healthy. There's no reason to poison them. So this motion here has been, what do you call it? A lot of municipalities have been drawn towards this. Nipissing North Bay has initiated a big stance against it in their Nipigon forest. So they're really starting to show general support and bring awareness to the people in their communities who are not aware. I've talked to several people in our township here, and through AMO and the delegations. Many of them don't even know that the government is spraying. So I believe this motion, by supporting our fellow municipalities around the province and the rural municipalities, especially up in the north, it would go a long way. The government can find other solutions to grow in their forest and manage it properly. So that's basically the background on that. If you have any questions, Councillor Tripp.
Thank you. I too have received quite a number of phone calls. People are against this action. So I think we're all on that same page. And it was a topic that occupied an awful lot of the discussion at AMO. The minister was there. It was discussed on the floor. There were questions to the minister. There were questions in the breakout committees, and there was questions just from participants as we walked the halls. So it's something that is incredibly topical. I like the idea of supporting their motion. I wonder if we could also add that the township sends a letter from the mayor to the minister, also standing alone, saying that it's not something that we support. We jump onto their position, but I think it would be good for Greater Madawaska to have on our letterhead, a letter to the minister saying this is something, and maybe even reference the part of the land you've just spoken about in our township that has seen the impact over the last 3 years. Thank you.
Any other questions? Following that, I'd just like to add too, one of the big issues is the value of the timber. And this is one of the reasons why they're spraying, is because all our pulp mills in Ontario have shut down. We're hauling poplar pulp up to like 10 hours away now to get to a mill. Madawaska in Quebec is one of the closest, and they only take so many loads per person. So these companies, there's no value in pulp. Their value is in the conifer 2x4s and the boards. They're a stronger tree and more financially economical for them. So they're trying to get these one stand forests, if you will, or one species forest, and eliminate these deciduous trees, which you look at any forest that's a natural forest, it has all these mixed species in it. It's good for the wildlife and the birds and the soil. If pests come through, like bugs, for example, and you have a one stand forest, we might as well kiss that forest goodbye then, because there's going to be no trees left. So it's just something else sort of to consider in that initial spraying. So, all in favor?
So
Sorry.
can we modify the resolution to include that Greater Madawaska sends a letter? I don't know how to word that, but.
Can I add to the end of it, and further that a letter from council be sent directly to
To the minister?
the minister?
And ours.
Well, it's both. So right now, Minister Harris is the head of the M&R, and he's the one the M&R is the ones that initiated the spraying program. But I think it's important to write both of them.
Ministry of Natural Resources
Yeah.
and Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks. And the letter will be outlining the opposition to the spraying of poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you want me to reread the whole thing, or are we good?
I think we're okay with just adding the adjustment. So, all in favor then? Carried. Yeah. So item number 13, entering in a closed session. Resolution, please.
That the council meeting of August 21st, 2025 enter into closed session at 4:11 p.m. pursuant to section 293(2) of the Municipal Act regarding one, litigation or potential litigation, specifically a causeway easement.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Levesque. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Sean. Moving on to item number 14, open session. Move to open. Resolution, please.
That the council meeting of August 21st, 2025 move back into open session at 4:32 PM.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp and Councillor Thompson. All in favor? Carried. Item number 15, rise and report. Resolution, please.
That council reports the following as a result of the closed meeting item: one, litigation or potential litigation, specifically a causeway easement, receive as information.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Levesque. All in favor? Carried. Item number 16, bylaw approval. Resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw, 45/2025 confirmatory, be deemed read a first, second, and final time and passed by council at the regular council meeting held August 21st, 2025.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Tripp, Councillor Levesque. All in favor? Carried. Item number 17. 17.1, motion to adjourn. Resolution, please.
That the regular council meeting of August 21st, 2025 be adjourned at 4:33 PM.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Levesque. Councillor Tripp. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. That finishes off the meeting of August 21st, 2021. Have yourselves a great day.